Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Gravity Daze walkthrough. It's episode 12, it's called Look Out Below, and we're doing some dive kicking through this wonderful backdrop of, what would you call that kind of green? It's a very pale green, isn't it? And I know a lot of words for green, but I don't know that many interesting ones for that kind of shade. That is a very interesting hue of the old green there. So we're looking for a dropped letter, and we're gradually moving towards the section of the game that I hate the most. And I use the word hate very liberally on my channel because it can be fun to kind of go on tangents and kind of go into, you know, little mini rants or little rage soliloquies and things, because that kind of stuff is entertaining for me. And a lot of people, it's resonated with a lot of people, so it's the kind of stuff I like to do. But when I say hate, it's generally just towards something that I don't enjoy. There are varying degrees of hatred and malice and spite in my heart when it comes to things that I don't enjoy, and this particular sequence is not going to top the scales for being anything too impressive, but it's definitely a sequence that I think stands out in this game as not very fun. We're going to be chasing Raven, I forget her name, the girl who has your powers, kind of deal, down a tree trunk to the left of us, and she's going to be trying to stop you. And it's a very long sequence of falling that just isn't as fun as it should have been. And the reason it isn't as fun is because it should have been like Afterburner, or is it Astrolander or something, I can't remember it. Space Harrier, gosh, there it was. I was trying to get that name in one of these videos for the longest time, and it just avoided my brain, and it came to me just then. Space Harrier, Afterburner, Azura's Wrath is a more recent example, Wonderful 101. This notion of kind of kiting the screen, seeing the projectiles coming towards you, having a decent understanding of their depth, and being able to dodge them in a fun manner. And then you have this bag of shit that's coming up, where the projectiles are kind of fast, and then when they hit you, they put you into a stun state, so all of them then hit you, and then a dodge that you have to do way earlier than you perhaps want to because of just the way that the game functions and the delays between dodges. And that's if you've upgraded your dodge at all, because if you don't, there's massive recovery on each dodge, which is really not too cool in this particular sequence. And then when you add this collectively with the fact that I haven't upgraded my life, this becomes way harder than it should be for all the wrong reasons. And the great news is this: you have way higher life than I do because nobody plays games like I do. So you're going to be fine. But this is a sequence that I found to be particularly non-fun, unfun, devout of fun, sans fun. And I think it could have been improved by some very simple additions to it. Could have been really cool, but it just kind of wasn't. And I don't like it, guys, so I apologise if you do, which is great. If you like it, that's fine, you know, I'm glad you've managed to find some goodness in it. To me, it has no redeeming qualities. But my strategy is rather simple. I'm going to, when she fires the piece of rock that comes towards you and kind of stabs you, I'm going to dive kick left and right and zigzag motions, and that way it cannot seemingly catch her unless you get unlucky. When she fires the blasts of energy, you can either use your super to cancel through it, or you can wait for the first one to come. It makes a little bit of a movement before it blasts, then press dodge, then when you recover, press dodge again, then when you recover, press dodge again, and just dodge them in succession. It can be done, and there is a timing, even though it is kind of counterintuitive, but you will have to learn it if you want to get through here with my life, and I didn't want to learn it because I'd never want to play this level again. So I just upgraded my HP, because there's a real cool strategy here if you didn't know, and a lot of games do this, so it's always worthwhile checking it out when you play a game. If any game has a life upgrade system, where you can go into a menu at any time and upgrade your HP, wait until you've been beaten up and you have no life left, go into the menu system and upgrade your HP. There are two possible outcomes. The first one is it will increase the bar and it will keep your life the same, a la Ninja Gaiden 2, I think, did that. Or did it? Or was it Ninja Gaiden 1 that did that? It might have been Ninja Gaiden 1. I think Ninja Gaiden 2 healed you, because I saved some Lives of 1,000 Gods for the last few bosses like Dangra Dai and that big gauntlet at the end. I think it was the first game that did it, where it increases your life's capacity but it doesn't fill your life. I could be wrong here, guys. It's been a long time since I played Ninja Gaiden. You have to bear with me. But that's one of the outcomes. I'm sure somebody in the comments will elucidate which one did what and which is a better example. Or it'll go the other way, where it increases your life and it gives you a full heal. And it's a great tool for healing in tough situations. If I had have made a walkthrough for Batman Arkham Asylum back when it first came out, on hard, what I would have told you to do is not upgrade your life until you get to the Titan fight in that massive room. Oh, it's not a big room, but it's got tons of dudes. You know when the elevator opens up and they keep coming out of the doors towards the end of the game? That is one of the hardest fights in that game, just because it's awkward and it's a small room. I would have told you to use your upgrades there because they would fully heal you and you wouldn't have any trouble, because in that game, getting a heal just doesn't happen. It happens after fights, doesn't happen during. So it's a fantastic way of skirting that restriction as we skate down this hollow right here. Pick up a lot of upgrade gems, which is the game's way of telling you that you might need to be a certain level of powerful here, because it's going to do a little bit of a step up. And it's good game design, because it's telling you not only will you need perhaps a couple of upgrades to get past this next sequence, but it's giving you the tools to do so if you haven't taken the time to collect anything like myself. So I think that's really cool level design, really cool placement of these, and it's like an early warning system. Games are full of early warning systems if you know what to look for. Some of them are paradigms that have been around as long as, you know, some of the oldest video games, and it's generally along the lines of, if a game isn't often kind in its giving you HP, and it gives you a room full of HP recovery, generally means you're going to fight a boss or a difficult situation. And that is now a universal standard for almost any game you can play, unless it's a very specific kind of archaic, a la the Soul series, which generally don't give you any kind of buttering up before a boss, unless very specific instances of that. An additional one, if you ever played old school shooters back when Doom and Quake ruled the roast? How can they rule a roast? I suppose maybe if they won the carving it's kind of like a big patriarch/matriarch position, isn't it? Depending on who gets to cut the meat. Never got that. Do you think it comes from the time when we were clans, when we were all tribes? Everybody had a majestic beard? I don't know. Probably. Everything comes from those days. You know, xenophobia, our enjoyment of shows like Vikings. But what was I saying? Rule the roost. Those games were very heavy on life refills and ammunition, and the easiest way to tell that you were about to get bummed was because you would walk into a chamber and there would be ammo everywhere. And in a lot of these games, ammo wasn't particularly rare, but it wasn't delved out in these manners, and that's why you could always tell. You know, those old school shooters, when you were starting to get tons and tons of ammo, you knew something was coming. It had to be, because they were telling you, you need this. If you don't have this, good luck. And you can see that in many instances of modern gaming. Most recently, I played the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 1 on the Xbox One. I thought it was a terrible remaster, personally, outside of the multiplayer, because they just didn't try. But at the end of that game, you know you're about to fight Ram, because you enter a station that has almost every weapon in the game on its racks and a ton of ammo crates, and it's telling you, you are about to come up against the devil himself. You're going to need some artillery a la Arnold Schwarzenegger in The End of Days. And that's what you do. You pick all that shit up and you get on with it. And a lot of people asked me to make a walkthrough of that Gears, and I really wanted to, guys, because I thought there was going to be a new difficulty above Insane, and there wasn't. And I ended up beating Insane on that game, and it literally felt like they nerfed the entire game. It really did. It was a joke. The only thing that was even remotely difficult... I died about 4 times. How the hell do you die 4 times on Insane in Gears? That doesn't work. That is a game where you die all the fucking time, because those games are really tough on Insane. Yeah, I died like 3 times, and 2 of those were to Ram. And like 1 of those might have been to a crash or some bullshit like that. Didn't make sense. And the reason I know they've nerfed that difficulty is because when I was in one of those mining crates on Act 3 underground, I had a Lambert Wretch falling to it on that on-rail section. It blew up in the crate with me, and it didn't kill me. And I'm sorry, guys. I played that enough when it first came out to know if you had any Lamberts fall into your car, into your mine cart, you were dead. Every single time. Every time. There was no surviving that. So they've tweaked some serious values there. And as much as it's nice for the people who struggle with gears, for somebody like me who wanted it to really kick my ass again like it did back in the day, they tweaked a lot of stuff. I'd love to see like patch notes to see what they changed, because you can tell they changed a lot of things. There were just really weird instances where I know I should have died and I didn't. And then other instances where I got a checkpoint where I knew I shouldn't. Because, I mean, that's a cool one though, adding checkpoints, but nerfing some of the damage doesn't make sense. Ram seemed just as hard as he always was, which is nice, because I think Ram is a very tricky fight. But everything else, it was just a yawn fest, and that's why I didn't make the guide, guys. But this is it. This is the section I don't like. So that blue orb just there, if you go towards it, or if you stay on the same trajectory as it, it will hit you and warp you back up, and it resets all progress. It's stupid as shit. But here is me getting hit by all the projectiles because I messed up my dodge. You'll notice I'm not doing the dive kicks unless she does the orb or the single projectile. The reason for that is you cannot cancel out of dive kicks with the dodge. You have to be free falling. So if you wait for it, dodge. Oh, I fucked that up too. See what I mean? The timing is very particular on it. And you might be like, well, you've got terrible timing. And in this game I do, yes. But I play other games where timing is incredibly important and I have much more success. But you see what I mean? That is not how that dodge should work in my eyes. I am dodging way earlier than I need to, and I'm still not getting hit. So I much prefer to do this, because you can use the iframes of your special to just completely bust through that move. And then you get a couple seconds to get in front of her, and she's going to warp below you. And you might be watching this and thinking, well, this doesn't look too bad. The problem is, the checkpoint is only when you're at 1,000. I think it's 1,000 yards left. So you have to do 2 1,000 yard stretches on base life against moves that do a lot of damage. So you'll notice there are a couple of healing items that you can pick up. But the problem is she gets to do some pretty nasty wake up stuff to you. That right there was a crossfade with the looks. That might have been the checkpoint actually. But I just don't like this sequence. This is the single projectile where you want to dive kick, because it has really... it's got decent tracking, but it misses you when you dive kick. She's doing it again as well, so be careful. But I find this to be completely out of place. It overstays its welcome, it's far too long, it's not actually fun, and it could have been so much better if it had been similar to something like Afterburner / Azura's Wrath. I think it's the best example I can really do. So because there's only 3 here, I'm going to dodge. So if you watch, that one hit me, which is not too great. And then the other one's missed, which was really lucky. But whenever she does the one that has like 6, that's when I'm going to do the special cancel if I can. And I don't know why I said special cancel, because it's not a special cancel, it's your special move. I've got Street Fighter up the arse at the moment. Anybody watch Final Round? That was really exciting. I am of the belief that I think Street Fighter 4 is better to watch than Street Fighter 5, but that's just because I prefer 4 to 5, because I didn't play it for 8 years and want something new. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who think that 5 is boring and that it isn't hype, and I think that Final Round really proved that wrong. I thought some of those matches were super exciting, and I'm stoked for NCR or SCR, I forget which one it is next week. It's going to be cool, man. Really, really cool. This is the one you want to special through. It's just easier. But you might wonder why I think that Street Fighter 4 is better to watch. And I think it's because of the bullshit. Street Fighter 5 is a super honest game. It really is, and it's a better game because of it. It's got rid of a lot of the gimmicks and a lot of the trash that bad players could use to stay in the game against better players. And there's also a lot of fundamental mechanics that good players relied on that aren't in 5, so you have to play way more legit. And I think that makes it great, but I also think it makes it less crazy in some instances. But that's the end of the video, guys. That's when you get to the bottom of the hollow, and then the next mission is going to be something completely different. So thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.